I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to my channel. So as usual, I've already done my prep and priming, and this video is particularly when you are looking to do makeup in your photos and you want to pop them out. I'm going to begin by using a little darker shade of foundation than the one I use regularly because I personally prefer having a very sun-kissed look during my makeup. So if that's something you like, I would recommend to go with a darker shade of foundation if you want to have that bronzy look and depending on the lighting you're shooting in. So I personally prefer shooting in very light level of studio lights, not nothing very heavy when it comes to studio lighting. So but if you're using very strong setup of studio light, I would recommend to have your skin loaded with a lot of primer and moisturizer because the lights produce a lot of heat and that can melt your makeup pretty fast. So when I really want my makeup to look the best, I would go by layering a bit more. So instead of using a sponge right now, I'm just going to be using a brush because that makes a lot of difference. And just make sure that you have a mirror handy because I have not used a brush for my foundation since a very long time. So I just want to make sure that the blending is perfect and everything. So I always like to keep a mirror handy so that I can, kind of check all the patches that if they have been blended well or not. So because I'm basically giving you tips for clicking pictures and having that kind of lighting, or maybe you're doing in natural lighting, this technique might differ from a lot of other techniques that I've been telling you about in my other videos, which you can definitely check out, and that would be great. But this particular video is meant for your makeup to look spot on in pictures. So the techniques might be a little different, and I wouldn't really recommend a lot of these techniques on a day to day basis anyway. So, usually, what I would do at this time is apply concealer, but this time I'm going to be using this Makeup Revolution stick foundation as a concealer. I usually like the one from Maybelline on a day-to-day basis, but because this is for a photo, I really want to have everything super contoured and super clean and crisp. So I'm just going to be using a foundation because that is going to give more coverage. And I have these two spots on my nose which I usually don't cover that much. If you can see, you can still see them. Just for this photo shoot, I would like to cover them a lot. So I like to kind of blend with a foundation first. I'll tell you this very nice tip, which works great in general as well, that when you kind of blend things with your fingers, especially concealer, it gives you the maximum coverage. So next I'm gonna use a colored primer. I'm so sorry. I had filmed this video like with the voice, but then I just realized there was so much noise these days because everyone's home, so I had to do a voiceover. So just gonna say that again, why I'm using a pigmented concealer is because I want everything to look one color and very smooth and very similar looking. So next I'm taking a loose powder. Instead of baking with a sponge, I'm actually using a lot of powder in the brush and kind of using the similar technique as a baking. Now I hate baking in real life. I know it's a trend on YouTube, on Instagram. A lot of makeup artists do it. I personally hate baking unless you're not using a really good loose powder. It has such a bad flashback. And in real life, it just leaves that patchiness over time. It's a good technique if you're just out of the door, going on a date or maybe going for a dinner or going on something that's going to end in a smaller duration, like 2 to 3 hours. It works great. After that, I just feel like it starts cracking your skin, so I don't really recommend this technique if you're in the long run. However, I don't mind setting your face with a lot of powder, but baking is a technique that I would say to avoid. In my opinion, don't like the technique. But in photos, again, I'm going to say, because this is for photos, in photos, your photo shoots do not last for more than 2 3 hours, and if they do, you end up doing your makeup again because of the lighting. The makeup tends to melt, and because of the heat of the photography, you're posing and everything, the baking gives a really smooth finish. So I always place my cream contour where I would naturally place it, and just because I know where I'm going to place it, I am going to use the baking technique under that cream contour. Now this looks really Kim Kardashian-y in photos. It looks really crisp when you're looking for photos, but in real life it starts looking like a very crisp line. And if you're okay with that kind of a look, because sometimes on purpose we want that line to show, then go ahead with this baking technique. But if you want that smooth finish, I would just say not bake so sharp. So now I'm going to be using a bronzy brown color on my crease, you know the drill, and I am doing that on both the eyes. Now you could play around with colors, it's for photos, and you want to go with something different. So I'm going to play around with my eye shape. It's because I have smaller eyes. I'm trying to create that wing with my eyeshadow naturally to give it an elongated look. Now this technique works well in real life and in photos. So you know how it starts looking wingy and it starts to make your eyes look longer. It's a very good technique in general as well. You can do it with lighter shades if you don't want to go heavy on shades. It looks beautiful if you have smaller looking eyes. So now I'm going to be using a purple shade and I'm going to layer it on my crease. I am using the same brush because I'm going to anyway end up blending with the same color I used initially. And you know how it starts looking very like photo-ish. It looks clean though. I did that on both my eyes. And so I also ended up using a darker purple shade to build up the crease a little bit, and I'm dragging the same shadow underneath my eye for the lower lash, and then I'm going to use a blending brush to blend everything and make it look smooth. Now again, with eye makeup, blending is the key. You want to blend as well and as smooth as you can. You can use so many colors and create a very beautiful eye look by just using a blending technique. I am trying to go with one shade and more solid, so I'm just going to be using one color for now. In fact, I use like three tones of the same color, and now with a smooth and a very light matte white, I'm going to define my lid. Kind of makes your lid looks bigger. When you kind of use a lighter shade on your lid, it always makes your lid look a little bigger. And I'm going to use the same shade on the inner corner and also below my brow bone. So now you see how I'm contouring. You've seen multiple videos dedicated to contouring, and I'm simply doing that and I'm contouring. Now because I want it to look contoured on purpose, I want my makeup to show, I want it to look contoured, I'm going a little heavy. I'm using a foundation stick to contour. Usually if I'm using a foundation stick to contour, I would go with one or two shades lighter. When I use the Makeup Revolution, when I'm not doing photos, I use f13, but when I am doing photos, I use f16 because the studio lights can tend to make your contour look a little lighter if you are using a setup of multiple lightings. So yeah, that can happen. So now I'm just going to dust off the loose powder real quick, and that's going to help me create that blended look with the contour. So you know how that cheeks and everything kind of stand out, and that contour stand out makes my face look very structured and the line is so defined. When you put your hair front, you're not going to see where it starts and where it ends. Now I'm going to use a pinky blush on, and when I'm doing photo shoots, I always say even in real life when you're going out, apply a little bit extra blush because that fades the earliest. I don't know the science behind it, but that's just how it rolls. So yeah, I'm going to end up applying a little bit more blush on, but a shimmery one. Now I hate shimmer blush on in real life. They tend to what do you say, define your imperfections more. But just for the photo, I like to have the shiny look, so I would go with a bronzer which is shimmer as well, and a blush on which is shimmer as well. I use the Makeup Revolution, I used the Revlon's Shimmer Bricks as a bronzer today and not a matte bronzer. If you've been following me, you know that I use matte bronzers in general. And now I'm going to be doing my brows. It's fine to do your brows totally off when you have looks like this. You can always correct it with a concealer. And I'm fumbling so much today, so I apologize for that in advance, but I hope you understand how I'm going about it. So you know how I went really heavy in general. The greatest tip that I would give you is match your hair color and your brow color. They look perfect. I love black eyebrows. I always do that. So now they went so bad, and I am just going to be using a concealer to fix it because, hello, we all make mistakes. And I filmed this at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I'm allowed to make mistakes, right? So, yeah. And then I'm going to be using a loose highlighter. This is a powder highlighter and kind of highlighting and shining for the gods, because who doesn't like a beamy highlighter in photos? In fact, in real life too, who doesn't like to shine for the gods? Going to go with the drill under my brow bone, the inner corner of the eye, bridge of the nose, cupid bows, and really strong cupid bows. When you highlight your cupid bows really strong, they kind of pop them out and make your lips look a little more pouty if you're not going to be using a combination of gloss over your lipsticks. I'm sorry for the phone being the phone beep. Oh, so many fumbles today. And then I'm going to do the cheekbones again. Yeah. That's just defines the cheekbone. A lot of people love this lipstick. It's easy to apply. It also has a natural sheen to it. Sorry, it also has a natural sheen to it, which kind of looks really pretty when you are clicking in daylight. It looks really pretty. And believe me, in general, also this lipstick, this particular lipstick, few colors, this color particularly looks really pretty for that nudie pink look. And then I'm going to apply mascara. Now I really wanted to apply false lashes. I do have a brand of my own, so you can check that out as well. It's called Le Lashes, and I am the craziest person. I did not have lash glue. I created this really cool look, which I'm gonna leave it like my Instagram link below. You can see it, where I had stuck so many flaws on my face, and I finished my lash glue. So yeah, that is how the final look is. It looks really cute. It goes kind of with the background, the deers, and yeah. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And I'm sorry I did do a lot of this time, but yeah, thanks for watching.